Welcome to another episode of Two Ales and Hockey Tales with Wally. And today I am so excited to have on a 35-year-old from Kamloops, British Columbia, Canada. His hockey journey took him to Canada, the USA, Northern Ireland, and Wales. He is another mighty bulldog from Ferris State, pod favorites, laced up for 330 AHL games. Best known for his time in the EIHL, I think, though, with 213 points, 93 goals in 205 games played. Former captain of the Belfast Giants, second team All-Star, two-time Challenge Cup champion, and a league champion. Don't even think they're playing that night. And he was a Spengler Cup champion for Team Canada and another player to meet me when I was naked. Welcome to the podcast, Blair Riley.
Yeah, what an intro. That's nice, Wall. You're on what, episode 60 something. You're getting pretty good with those. That sounds smooth.
I try to improve. It's like, when you're in hockey, you try to get better every time, right? Or every season. You try.
Who were the other Ferris State Bulldogs you've had on?
Rob Collins, my favorite player as a child when he played for my hometown team. He played well before your time.
Yeah.
And then Jeff Legui.
Yep. He was a bit before my time, but getting closer.
Yep. You're after my 4 years, I guess. And I didn't know any of the players you played with at Ferris.
Yeah, I guess Zach Redmond would be probably the most well-known. He's got a decent. Well, he's still playing. He's in Munich right now, but he got a good number of games in the NHL with Winnipeg and Colorado. And Chad Billings had a cup of coffee with the Flames and a good career in Europe as well. So it'd probably be the most well-known Bulldogs from my era.
I'm too old, I guess. You're younger than me. Because I knew Legui, and then Collins was about 5 years older than me, but like a guy I looked up to as a kid, and that's how I had him on. But seems like I mesh with Bulldogs, though. The Ferris State boys seem not far off from the Western Michigan boys. Yeah,
you know what? We weren't the most talented squad, but we were easily the most beefy in the weight room. We looked like a football weightlifting team. And we had a wicked group of guys. So they're still some of my best friends from that crew there. And we're all a little bit older. Like I was 20, I was turning 21 November of my freshman year. So I was like
an old freshman.
Yeah. I was the only one in the dorms that could actually buy drinks and stuff. So yeah, I don't
probably get in trouble buying everybody drinks at that point.
Well, I wasn't buying any drinks for anyone else, but I could have.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure. Okay. Well, we got to get into this. How we know each other is, like I mentioned, I guess I reached out to you on LinkedIn is how I got into it because I saw you ended it and got into the business world. We'll get into that in a second, but I guess we should talk about the night we met, right?
I mean, I was hoping we weren't going to have to talk about it, but
we don't have to. I mean, it's been talked about enough.
Has it been? I listened to Dicko's episode.
We didn't. Evan Mosey talked about it a bit, but he didn't play that night. You were playing.
Yeah. So Dixon gave the full rundown. I mean, the funniest part of it all was seeing you go from the dressing room being like the naked guy to not even 5 minutes later, you're out doing a ceremonial puck drop. Mm-hmm. We were laughing on the bench thinking like, if these fans knew what was going on 5 minutes before this.
Yeah. I saw, no, you guys were on the blue line for for the whole thing. And I remember getting dressed up and then I was standing there and they're having like a video tribute and it's like showing my kids and like Family Guy and that you guys just see me running around naked. So yeah.
Hey. Jack of all trades. And that would have been probably your first time with the fan section because this would have been the first year that Cardiff did that. And you were leading the charge. You were in the middle of the whole thing.
Well, I just trying to support the club. They took care of me and I just was trying to give back, and they were trying to get the standing section going. I thought maybe it would help out, maybe get things going. Block 13.
You know what? that was a great little experiment. You could see it took a little bit to kind of get going and everyone to get organized with it. But once it got rolling, like those fan sections, it's a lot more of a European thing. You don't see it in Canada really, or the US. It just brings so much more to the games and stuff. And
No, you're right. And it's not really an EIHL thing either, because like there's no set area where it's like all standing. And like in Germany, there'd be an area where it's just all standing and they got drums and flags and they got sometimes flares and like the SWAT police there. It's quite wild.
yeah, Belfast had a great fan section, and
Didn't they have cheerleaders?
yeah, they had cheerleaders. It just kind of adds a little bit more excitement and a little more entertainment. The fan experience over here sometimes it's a little bit lacking in that department. You're out for a good night out. You're there to have some fun. Like,
Let
get
loose.
involved, support your team,
Take your top off, grab a flag.
get naked and scream like you're not going to see your coworkers again at work on Monday.
I did.
I'm sure, but at least you were back.
Shoot. Yeah, no, I had forgot the game had changed so much, because as soon as I grabbed that flag and I was topless in the crowd, and then there was like 1,000 iPhones on me, I was like, oh dear, that was not a good decision. But moving on, you also got an MBA playing in the UK. Did you do that in Cardiff or Belfast?
No, I did that in Belfast. That was kind of I guess, a big draw to the UK for me. And I think a lot of guys towards not even their end of the careers now. A lot of guys are going, early 30s, sometimes even just to get a jump start foot in the door because the league's improved so much. But that was my first 2 years. I did my master's in Belfast, did it part-time. And yeah, I found I hadn't been in university since 2010. So it was kind of the way for me to get back into studying and start looking at transitioning into, when I was going to be finished playing. But super glad I did it, and super glad I took the opportunity to go over and play and do university at the same time.
Yeah, I think every guy that has the opportunity, like they're pretty high end players now getting those MBAs. Like everybody wants to go to the UK, and those MBAs are like you got to do it if you get the opportunity. Which I guess we'll get into is where and what are you doing now? Because the MBA came in handy. You got a good job, right? Because I see it on LinkedIn.
LinkedIn means it's official. Yeah. I was on a 2-year deal with Cardiff. So I had another year that I was planning to go back and play. Obviously the pandemic hit and, it wiped out that year, but I didn't know until probably into August that it wasn't looking like the UK was going to go probably earlier than that, but I was still, Todd gave permission to look around at other leagues. I had some other opportunities, but the more I kind of looked into it, it just didn't feel like anything else that I wanted to pursue. I enjoyed my time in the UK, and if they weren't going to play, I didn't feel like going anywhere else and having my last year kind of be somewhere that I didn't really want to be playing.
And you had decided it was your last year?
No, I hadn't really made a decision. I guess the best thing to come from the pandemic is the decision was made for me. A lot of guys probably stick around longer than they should, and I might have been one of them. Like, your health becomes a factor. Your performance starts to slide. It gets tougher to go train. It gets tougher to play the games, and it just it's one of those things that now that I've had some time to look back, it was probably the best thing for me. So it kind of gave me the kick in the ass to start looking into the next opportunity and what I was going to do after. So I built my first resume. I haven't ever had to pass out a resume other than my hockey DB before I quit playing. So I did that. And like you said, LinkedIn, I started reaching out to some things I might be interested in. And I got pretty lucky that I have a cousin in town who's a pretty smart girl, and she had started a project management company and had been doing really well. And she offered me an opportunity. I didn't know anything about project management. I was taking a leap.
What was your master's in?
So I actually did sports management, and I had intended to get into
Next out.
Yeah, there you go. Cheers.
Cheers.
I had planned to get into player agency. I wanted to represent guys. Some in Europe. I started into it a little bit.
I saw it on LinkedIn. It said you used to be an agent.
Yep. So I was part of my internship through the sports management program was for the dissertation, you had to get an internship, and then you wrote the dissertation based on the experience. So Jason Krog and Derek Becker were two teammates that played at UNH. And Steve Thornton, actually the GM in Belfast, kind of reached out to them and got me in touch and said they were looking for some help. And they offered me just kind of a start, and got my foot in the door. And that was my plan, was to get into player agency. I was thinking that I was going to do it in North America. But this opportunity came.
So did you have any players?
Yeah, I did, but it was mostly through like their contacts. So they would have all their players.
I tried to recruit Joey Martin, and I tried to become an agent. My first training camp in Cardiff, I said, Joey, I want to be your agent. And he turned me down.
I'm your guy. And he probably said
I never got into being an agent just because Joey turned me down. If not, who knows what could have happened, Joe?
Who knows? And that is kind of how it goes. But the more I looked into it, especially in North America, you're recruiting kids at 13, 14 years old, and they don't turn professional till,
and then they can leave you and go to a different person when they get paid.
Yeah. So it's maybe, a 5-year commitment with some of these kids, and that it's just not really, I don't believe in the business model. I don't think you should be recruiting kids at that age. It kind of seems almost like predatory a little bit. You're taking advantage of some kids and making promises to them that you can't fulfill because you have no idea how they're going to turn out. So if I could have gotten to the stage where I was like a profitable agent, I would have loved the career.
Yeah. It sounds like a great job when you actually have the guys that like are signing deals that are making you some money. But like, I know that like the agent I had over in Europe for a while, like it took him years of like really suffering to get to where he was.
Yep. Yeah. So some of the European guys, you can get a quick jump because you're grabbing guys that are in North America and they're transitioning to Europe, and you're making a commission right away. North America's, it can be
different animal.
Yeah, unless there's other ways. I guess if you piggybacked off another agent that was getting a bit older and he sent you some business, or there's a couple different ways to do it, I guess. But I just, again, I didn't, circumstance. I didn't have a full 16 months. There was no one playing anyway, so it wasn't like I couldn't be recruiting kids. No one was playing hockey for that time, and I jumped in the project management thing, and I just started to love it. So it kind of fit exactly with what I was doing in university. I did a business administration undergrad at Ferris, and it was basically project management related. So I just hadn't been introduced to the specifics of it.
Yeah, no, it's different getting into the real world. I'm glad you love it. That's great, man. There's not that many guys out there that are saying they love their jobs now. So that's great. And is that a mountain behind your shoulder?
That's a mountain. Yeah. Well, I'm in BC, Wally.
Well, I don't have those around here. That's cool.
We're, yeah, it's been a bit of a tough summer with
where in BC?
So I'm in Kamloops. Yeah. So
forest fires. What's that been like?
It's been bad. This has been one of the first clear days we've had, the majority of the summer, pretty much from like Canada Day hit, and you could see the fires just sparking up. It's just been a crazy hot and dry summer. And really the last 5 years we've been hit with forest fires in BC, and it's been bad, man. People have been put in some bad situations and losing property and losing their livestock and shit. But
That's brutal.
yeah, the smoke's just a byproduct. So
okay, well, that sucks. Hopefully everything improves and that shit stops.
but when it's beautiful, BC is
right. I've never been out there. Like, I don't know. I've just seen, like stuff like this in the background when I talk to guys like Justin Kelly out there. And there's a lot of beautiful places I see in the backgrounds.
yeah, no, it's a nice spot. It's a nice area to grow up. So
okay, here we go then, because this goes right into the start of this thing is growing up in Kamloops. What's this town like, and how many people are there? Let me know.
I gotta say, Wally, I actually am born and raised in Chase, which is about 45 minutes east of Kamloops.
And so, how big's that one?
Tiny. It's about 2,500 people tops. Small town. Didn't even have a rink growing up in Chase, so that's why I had to come to Kamloops. We would commute from Chase and play on the rep teams in town here.
And the winter's drive might not have been that good then?
Well, I don't know, because I would get in the car and I would just go to sleep. My dad would,
get you there.
Yeah. He'd wake me up at, I don't know, 4 a.m, and I'd fucking bitch and complain after he's already swept the car and shoveled the driveway, and he's got to drive me to a freezing cold rink, and I'd just complain. It's
crazy looking back on it, isn't it?
He's probably gritting his teeth like, you son of a bitch.
Little prick. No. Yeah, no, I never do that now with my 9-year-old.
You just have no idea how lucky you are. But I certainly appreciate it now that I've gotten a little older and realize the sacrifice it took, because
it's not just hockey though, it's everything parents do, man. There's a lot to it. It's like, not just hockey, man. There's, so you start wiping asses, it's a whole different thing. So then how big's Kamloops then? Now is that where you're living now, and that's where you played minor hockey mainly?
Minor hockey all the way up until junior. All my friends were from Kamloops, and they were all on the teams that I grew up playing with. It's probably just under 100,000, so not a big place, but good size. We got everything we need here. Lots of good golf courses, lakes not far away, Sun Peaks ski resorts not far. So you got everything you could really ask for.
How far is the lake away?
The Shuswap Lake's it's actually Chase is on the Shuswap Lake, so it's probably like 45 minutes to an hour to the Shuswap. So that's where I spend the majority of my.
This is a random question, just because I'm curious, because you grew up in Chase. What did your parents do when you were growing up?
So my parents both they had a real estate company together in the small town of Chase. So they kind of started their own thing growing up, and just kind of made their way. It was a small town, and raised 2 boys. And they were in the office together, so they spent all
day.
Yeah, and they're still married.
Did he have a shed to podcast in?
No, I don't know how. Well, he had a golf membership, so
that was his shed.
His shed was at the golf course, so
I understand.
He would get there when he needed it, and then between the two of them, they would drive me to hockey in the winters, and and then they still had my brother as well, so they had.
So how do you get to the Merritt Centennials?
So Merritt came about. I was playing junior B in, which would be my grade 12 year, so my 17-year-old season, I guess. I had a tough start. It was my first year away from home at a pretty young age, and towards Christmas, I started playing a little bit better.
Does Kamloops not have a junior team, or?
Kamloops got a Western League team, but I was drafted to Prince George, to the Cougars, and went to their camp when I was young, when I was 15, the first year after getting drafted. And I hadn't made a decision about, Western League or NCAA, but just given how good the BC League is at that age, it's almost like presumed if you don't go to the Western League right away, then you're a college kid, which wasn't the case for me. I just wanted to, I guess more my parents, they wanted just to keep my options open, because as soon as you play one Western League game, your NCAA scholarship opportunities are basically gone. So they just wanted me to wait and see and see how I developed. Like I said, I was still pretty young at that age for a 16-year-old kid. I was a late birthday. But once I got to Merritt and started playing in the BC League and got a little bit of recognition from NCAA teams, it just seemed like it would be a perfect way to go. Like, you get your schooling, you get to play another 4 years. It just felt like, I was going to pursue that, and see where that would take me.
Well, I guess my questions about junior are, you started with Merritt and it looked like you did really good. And in that league, if you were getting like a point a game, like I think 30 goals, and didn't seem like you got a scholarship right away. And
40,
then, 40 goals. That was the last year. You had 30 2 years before, man. My research team's hot, baby.
No, back-to-back 40, Wally. You got to add up.
Oh, shit, you got traded. What a suitcase. Who gets traded in junior? Jesus.
Research is off, Wally.
I can't add those up. Jeez, they're different lines, different rows.
I will say this. The coach we had in Merritt was he was one of a kind.
Why didn't you get a scholarship right away?
Well, probably because of the way I skated. I wasn't a fast skater. And
skating again. Jeez, I just had Hotham on, and like all these awesome players that win everywhere they go. Skating.
Yeah, it improved as I got older, but I was always a pretty big kid, and it took a while for like my power to kind of catch up to how big I was. I was just it took me a while to get moving. Once I got going, I was pretty fast, but my quickness was always an issue. And if you're a college recruit and you come out to BC, you only watch maybe 1 or 2 games. That's kind of your recruiting trip.
And it's whoever flashes your eye, and it's the ones that aren't skating well probably don't catch your eye.
Yep. So, BC does really well with producing NCAA players, but a lot of those kids generally are coming in from like different areas, like Ontario, where they're just coming out to play in a good league before they go to the NCAA. So,
yeah, you guys are out there. A lot of guys around here are leaving here to go out there now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's got a bit of a pipeline. Like Penticton's, got a bit of a factory going on where they just bring kids in, and that's where you're recruiting just as a piece of cake. You just tell kids, come here for a year. You're going to live in a beautiful spot. They got a nice rink down there, and then
get a scholarship, and then
go do your thing. So
yeah. I could see the selling points. Yeah. Okay. So why did they trade your ass then?
The coach, actually, that's what I was gonna say. He was old school as they get, but he was.
Wouldn't that be your type of guy?
He really liked me, but he was also our head coach, and he would also drive the bus. So he would throw his steel toes on, and he would drive us up 6 hours of Prince George, throw the suit on. If we didn't play well, he'd cuss us out and he'd get us back home. And it came towards the deadline, and he said basically the team's probably not making playoffs. And me and Bill Vandermeer, who I'm sure Belfast fans are familiar with, Big Jim.
Yeah.
One of his younger brothers, the two of us were two of the leading scorers in Merritt, traded us to Nanaimo, who's one of the top teams at the time. And
okay, so you got traded because they weren't.
He was doing
good.
me a favor in the end.
Yeah.
It was,
but you still didn't have a scholarship.
No, I didn't get.
What's going on, dude? It's still your skating, and you were on pace for 40 goals, and you're not turning heads. Like, look at your biceps. I can see them on the screen. That had to have been turning heads.
It's still. Well, I wasn't wearing a sleeveless jersey, unfortunately, I guess.
Jeez, yeah.
But
thank goodness we weren't.
Ferris State was the only team that offered me And it wasn't until pretty late, man. It was into like February of my 20-year-old season. It was kind of getting down to the nitty gritty. I mean, my coach was Bill Bestwick in Nanaimo. He felt confident that I was going to get something, but I just kind of took him at his word, which, you know.
So was that the only school?
It was the only school that offered. I'd been talking to some other teams, but they were the only team that actually made me an offer. So when they made that, I literally jumped all over it. I took it. Like, the coach was almost surprised at how fast I accepted. He's like, shit, I probably could have offered him a 50% skull. You would have taken it. This guy's desperate.
No, but like when I think of Fair State, like the guys that I've met and talked to, like Robbie Collins wasn't young when he went there. Kunitz wasn't even that young when he went there. Like there's a bunch of boys that go there and like they're good players. They just developed later or didn't get noticed. But Ferris was pretty good at they caught quite a few good players there.
And that's kind of the how they stay competitive in the CCHA at the time. We're playing Michigan, Michigan State, Ohio State, Miami, Notre Dame. They were powerhouses then. Because
Did you forget about Western Michigan?
Us and Western were in the same boat.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah, no, I wasn't. We weren't a powerhouse. Okay, go on. Sorry. We became one, I think, for a little bit. Maybe
a good team, but not a power. Like, you know.
Okay, fair enough.
Michigan
move
State
on. Move on. Sorry.
Yeah. So we would get our players like myself in there. We're 21-year-old freshmen. By the time I was a senior, I'm 25 years old. Michigan, you know, half their team
are 18 drafted first round, and you're starting to get like actually gray hairs, and you're like, I'm still in college, and like I was 21 as a freshman in the dorms.
Their players, I forget who was on their first power play unit, but it was something like, I think Jack Johnson, like Matt Hunwick.
Those were the guys that were there when I was there. So I only missed you by a year.
And Cogliano, and I think I forget who else is out there. But
did I play against you in college?
I don't think so. When did you graduate? I think we just missed each other, Wally.
Because all those guys, I played against all of those guys. Yeah.
Yeah, they were all studs. But the point is, those guys would all play a year, maybe 2 years, sign, and then they're
and
gone.
They got to recruit again. But then they bring in the next young punk. And us old boys are still just grinding it out.
Yep. But we're playing 18-year-old kids. So,
Yeah.
Sometimes you get the better of them. Not often. I think.
No, but like for yourself, like there were scouts starting to watch you because I saw what happened. So I guess what else about Fair State should we get into though? Anything else? Before we move on to your pro career, anything about Ferris?
Man.
You had a big senior year. I know that.
Yeah, you know what? We had a good senior. My senior year was really good. We had a good class, my class, and the class just below me were good. And by the time we got to my last year, we were in the mix. We kind of faded in the second half. Actually, what happened was, we made it to the Joe Louis Arena, which for people that tune in that don't know, that's
the final six, isn't it?
Final four. Yeah.
So used to be 6 when I was there, but yeah, 4 now.
Yeah. So we went to the final 4
of the CCHA, folks.
Sorry. Yeah. Let's clear that up. We were in the NCAA tournament at that point. So we went there and we lost to Northern Michigan like 5-4 in overtime. But how it works is the same as like the EIHL. When you go to the Final Four, you got to play the consolation game the next day. So your season's done.
You got to play.
But you got to play. So we had to play the third place game. And I think it was against Miami.
You're probably not nearly as hungover.
No, but the reason was, if we didn't play that game, so if we didn't have a game, we would have been in the tournament. But since we had to play that game,
And you
We
lost the
lost.
third place game?
We lost the third place game.
You didn't make it in.
We got bumped. Alaska Anchorage or Fairbanks, who was sitting at home from our league tournament, they didn't get 2 more losses on their record. They jumped us in the pairwise and got into the tournament.
Oh my gosh. So folks in the UK, because there's a bunch of you listening, I know there are a bunch of people in the shed with us right now, is in college hockey, it's all about rankings, and either win your league and make it to the tournament, or it's where you're ranked. So you're saying you lost 2 games, got bumped down the rankings, so then you don't make the final 16 teams in college hockey.
So basically all you need to know is we got fucked over.
Yes, that stinks.
Yeah.
Well, at least you got to play in some meaningful games. I never even made it to Joe Louis or anywhere. So
yeah,
good on you. But okay, so what are your pro options as a 57-year-old out of college hockey into professional?
They were limited. They were.
You had a big senior year. I could see. You want me to tell you how it all played out? Because
Sure.
You ready?
Yep.
So when you got to Ferris, your foot speed's not that good. You're getting stronger, but you're not a man yet. You're kind of a man because you're 21, but then you really get bigger and stronger, and you take hockey seriously when you start doing well, like really seriously. And then the last year, you're like standing in front on the power play. You're abusing guys.
Half wall.
You're a half wall guy.
I wasn't, but that's the thing.
You're a half wall guy. I didn't think you were a half wall guy.
I'm not a half wall guy, but at Ferris in my senior year, I was a half wall guy. Okay, so go on.
No. Now I'm upset because I thought I knew you. I thought you were the guy that was willing to stand in front and really actually screen the goalie where he's actually not going to see it. You got a lot of tip-ins, maybe popped out into the slot. But I guess you're dusting it off on the half wall. So, hey, what do I know?
So maybe I should have got into the net front spot and my options wouldn't have been as limited.
I don't know. What did you play in pro? Like when you got to the EIHL and started scoring a lot.
Oh, I was going to say in pro, I wasn't a power play.
No, I'm not talking about the AHL. I'm talking about when you started scoring. What were you on the power play? In Belfast, what were you?
I was the middle of the box.
I told you. Yeah.
Not necessarily net,
but still popping out to the slot. I said popping out to the slot.
Yeah. See that kind of power play setup wasn't really a thing back in college, and definitely not a Ferris State. We were meat and potatoes as it gets.
Well, I'm sorry. I had no idea you were a half wall guy. I'm sorry. I underestimated.
I shouldn't have been.
No, I just saw your biceps. I'm like, geez, I didn't think that your hands would be that soft with those biceps. I see them on the screen. People, check out the YouTube channel.
We didn't work it off my side. I was shooting.
You do know that project managers do not look like that in the real world.
I'm changing the game.
Shoot. Okay. So pro options. You did get straight to the AHL though at that age out of college, which is really good. Most guys that age out of college don't get a look in the AHL, right? You went straight there.
Yep. I did get a little bit of a look out in Springfield. Pretty rough town, let's be honest.
I don't know where Springfield.
Western Mass. So it's probably maybe 2 hour and a half from Boston, but straight west inland, pretty tough town. And I was there just on a PTO like a lot of college kids do.
Same as me. Captain Morani.
Yep. And it was the Oilers affiliate at the time, and the Oilers, they were just awful. Like this was probably one of their really down years. So I remember Jordan Eberle's season just ended. He was there. Jeff Petrie, who I'd been playing against all year with Michigan State, was an Oilers draft pick. He was signed and was there. They had some other good players, but then there's probably like 10 of us that were college free agents that were all living in the hotel and, going to practice. There was probably 35 or 40 guys out there on practice days. And after seeing how it works, after I played a few years, you just feel awful for some of those veteran guys that, all these young college kids come in
every year.
Yeah.
Every year.
If your team's out of the playoffs, basically you're just shipped aside and these kids are just
yeah, like
yeah.
Well, yeah, you're right. Like in North, yeah, but like then if their team's kind of good and those kids come, you don't get a chance. Like the HL team I went to was going to the playoffs and I never got a chance, right? Like if I'm going to a team that's not making the playoffs, maybe I show up and they're like, well, here, let's see if you can run a power play. But if their team's good, they got their setup. They're not changing anything, right?
Yeah. I remember my first game was in it was in Hartford, I think. And Donald Brashear had just gotten sent to the minors. I think he was making $1 million in the minors. And before the game, my dad called to wish me good luck, and he said, "Whatever you do, don't fight that Brashear." I was like, "What would ever make you think that I would do such a stupid thing, Dad?"
Yeah.
Like,
no, wouldn't even go near him.
Yeah. And now I'm thinking about, like,
now it's going through your head.
It couldn't have been any less going through my head. I couldn't even fathom that my dad was that stupid. I got to question my dad.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't make sense. He was playing in the AHL.
I think this was maybe the end of his contract, maybe the end of his career kind of thing. But
it's weird how they like the biggest boys all were out there for, I guess it was when I was in Germany and like, I guess when I first went to the AHL, but like those guys were so massive and like the heavyweights in the NHL were so big. And then the guys in the AHL trying to get there by fighting, there were so many of them.
It was, yeah. And that, like, even before I was there, it was like,
yeah, I think it was more when I went there, right?
But even maybe 5 years before I was there, it's just like next level. Some of these guys, just absolute, like, just not someone you'd ever want to meet in an alley. Definitely not on the ice sheet.
No, I was actually quite scared on the ice, to be honest. I always thought like I wasn't a pussy, but then they put me on the ice with those people, and I guess I am in fact a bit of a pussy. Because I was actually scared. I thought they were going to hurt me. I thought I was going to get hurt because they were so much bigger than me. But anyways, you went there for 3 games. Sounds like there was a lot of guys trying out for the next year, or just so all the other teams can get a look. And there's probably lots of scouts checking out who's trying out. Because that's kind of what it is like, right? So what happens then that summer? Like, or how does it end after 3 games? The season ends and you go back to school for the end?
Yeah, exactly. I think I was out there for maybe 1 paycheck. So it was like a 2-week stint, lived in a hotel. I'd spoken to all my teachers, and my second semester, my senior year, was pretty light. Like most guys usually kind of, build it up that way. So I went back and, planned ahead. That's what a project.
I took volleyball last semester.
Yeah. So, the senior year, spring, I got to go back and enjoy that with all the guys. So I didn't miss out on much. I didn't get a contract out of the deal. So, but it kind of prepared me for next season. It let me know, what the pace was going to be like,
and what's out there, right? Like that's what I guess you were with younger guys. I went to a different team, right, where there's all established older guys, and I was like, wow, look at these guys, like they were real pros,
Yeah. So just the experience. It's only 3 games, but just kind of wrapping your head around, like seeing someone like Brashear, like that's his livelihood now. That's kind of where it's at. It's not just a game anymore. You're not doing it necessarily as a pastime. Like you're trying to fight for
your job.
Some guys are feeding their families through this, and and it might be their only option. Like that's what they're thinking at the time. It's not necessarily true, but that's the mindset that a lot of those guys have. And if you're trying to eat off their plate, they're smashing you over the head.
Oh yeah, for sure. And they were kind of scary. So after the Springfield 3 games, then I did see your next year. Most of it is in Las Vegas. Are you on a straight East Coast deal? Because you got 2 different call-ups that year. And what is Vegas living like when you're not a Golden Knight, you're a Wrangler?
Yeah, it's probably very different. Probably like couldn't be any more different.
Probably you're right.
So I got invited to Phoenix's rookie camp that summer. So did that, got invited back for their actual rookie camp in the summer. Had a decent camp, got invited to main camp.
And you're probably, 6 years older than the rest?
At the rookie camp for sure. And that's kind of Brad Tree Living was the GM at the time. He said to me, you came in and you had a great camp, but we got to keep in mind that you're 25 and these kids are 18. I said, hey, that's fair. That's fair. That's absolutely fair. So he did say you had a good camp. And we'll invite you to main camp and see if it can continue. But it didn't.
So then what did you sign then? The East Coast deal with the Wranglers, the Las Vegas Wranglers?
Then from Phoenix's main camp to go to San Antonio's main camp, their American League affiliate. And Las Vegas was their East Coast affiliate. So I basically did it ended up being 5 weeks straight of training camp by the time I got to Las Vegas. Went to Vegas as a free agent. Coach ended up signing me, I think, for the rookie minimum. I was clearing $415 a week in Las Vegas.
Beauty. Straight to the blackjack tables or what?
Yeah. If none of the UK listeners have been there, that's you can get into a nightclub for that, and then that's about it. So luckily, my roommate was on an NHL deal straight out of junior. So he was making, I think he was making $150,000. But the good thing about the East Coast League is you get paid, at least in Vegas, you get paid once a week. So you get paid every Monday. Every Monday night you get your $400. So I just had to get through Sunday night, and then boom, that big auto deposit would hit and I could go have another dinner.
Hit the town. Yeah, hit the town. $400. Yeah, it sounds like the Wranglers were just like playing for the Golden Knights. I know.
You know what? It was
in Daytona Beach, Ohio. It was just like Daytona Beach, Florida.
Yeah, but I will say this, it was an unreal spot for your first year pro, just to live in.
How far away are you from the Strip?
So our apartments were on Flamingo. So Flamingo goes directly to the Strip. If you get on Flamingo and drive straight, you'll get to the Strip. It's just going to take you about 20 minutes. Yeah. So a few miles.
Sounds like the type of area I'd stay in if I went to Vegas, probably.
Exactly. But we would play 2-touch out in the parking lot, and the rink was right downtown, right in the Strip. And
is that right? Right on the Strip?
Not right on the Strip, sorry.
Jesus, you're playing 2-touch on the Strip? That
we
sounds
would play
fun.
2-touch looking at the Strip. And, we were all just young guys. We would bring our button-down shirts. We'd play the game Saturday night at home. We'd run outside, change, and we'd go straight there wherever we're going. So it was cool. But at the same time,
go through your $400 quick doing that, eh?
Quick. But I was pretty focused to get out. I didn't want to be in the East Coast League. Vegas was fun, but I didn't want to be there. My mindset was still, I had fun, but my mindset was to really get the fuck out of there. I wasn't trying to.
Yeah, you're a giver. I can tell. You giver, and you got out of there. You did, and there would be guys that go there and get sidetracked, right?
Yeah, and we would certainly have our nights, and Sean McMonigal, who ended up being a Cardiff Devil with me at the end. We both started our careers in Vegas and then ended in Cardiff together. So he was one of my best buddies, but we didn't see each other really.
He's your Hendo.
Yep.
We started dating together and then I ended in Cardiff.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
He didn't end. He grinded it out for a couple more years, but third league in Germany, way to go. Oberliga. So anyways, yeah, no, it's cool. The relationships you get when you're rookies, you don't see each other for like 10 years. And then you meet up. And like, for me, it was like, I had one kid and a pregnant wife. And I was like, whoa, you're in one.
Nothing changed, but everything.
Yeah. But our relationship didn't change at all. It's still the exact same, right? Just like podcasting with people and you haven't seen them in 10 years. So I don't know where we are anymore. You're in Vegas. You had a good year, though, that year in Vegas, and you did get out of there. You got 2 call-ups, and you scored 20 goals and had quite a few PIMs. So you're probably getting some PP time now. Are you still the half-wall guy?
No, I don't think I was a half-wall guy at that point. I was a
line guy?
No, actually, a little bit I was up top shooting, believe it or not. I wasn't lugging the mail or anything like that, but I would shoot it. I would just get the puck and shoot it. I've probably been in that.
The only time I've seen you play was Wally night, and I didn't pay attention to the game at all. So I don't know. I'm just going off of what I feel.
Good. Check the DB and hope for the best.
Right. I just saw the penalty minutes. I saw the points. And I just tried to put it together that like this guy fights, he does everything, he blocks shots, he scores goals, and I'm like, that sounds like net front guy.
I didn't try to block too many shots.
Is that right?
I would do it, but I would like
I
Lord
tried not to actually.
Yeah, so there's probably 3 guys when it comes to shot blocking. Guys who really try not to block them.
Yeah, and then you're the in-between guy. I'm the in-between guy.
Yeah, like
if it hits me, shoot. But
if it goes through my legs, I gave him. I was happy enough to block it, but I didn't.
I understand. It's not like you're Mark Richardson going on one knee, going sideways, and saying, "Please put this in my ear."
He had one of the biggest talents for that, because it is a talent.
I don't understand how hasn't been seriously injured, right?
He was awesome at it, and he was brave as fuck. And it's being brave, but it also had timing and being able to read the play and knowing when the shot was being taken. Richie was awesome at it. Lordo also was awesome at it. He wasn't as talented at it. He would just fucking
try too hard.
He would just get in the way of it.
Yeah. Okay, so he was still playing when you were there, or you what? Or did you play against him?
I played against him, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I did too in the second league in Germany. Yeah.
I played against Lordo in junior way back in the day too. He was a Vernon guy when we were really young.
Well, there was a big decision in your life you made that we'll get into at some point, but we're gonna keep teasing it, eh? We'll keep teasing the UK fans until we get to your big decision. Yeah, it might get late tonight. Who knows? But the next year, what do you sign? Because you're with the Chicago Express, and you get a point a game after 15 games played, a little over, and then you say, East Coast, smell you later, never coming back.
So the year in Vegas, I had a couple call-ups. So to San Antonio, where the Phoenix affiliate was, they called me up for a quick stint. And then Peoria for maybe 3 weeks towards the end of the season. Did pretty well there. The coach was actually Jared Bednar, who's the coach of the Avalanche right now. He was a really good coach, and he was good to me, but they were a bit of a smaller American League team, and same kind of thing happens. You get towards the end of the year, if you're not like head and shoulders above the guys coming.
Well, they got the new draft picks, right? Like
exactly, and they
to actually earn the contract, like the even if it's a one-way AHL deal, there's so many fucking guys. And there's so many coming. And there's so many coming that like are like haven't even reached puberty yet. And they're like, oh, well, what can he be? What can he be? Like, I drafted him. I scouted him, right?
Yeah. And, to be fair, I was 25. You knew more or less what I was at that point, so you're better off finding out maybe if someone else has got a little bit more of this, so I didn't have a contract that summer. And I think, so San Antonio ended up moving or Phoenix moved their affiliate out to Portland in Maine. So I went out to camp there, and Brad Treliving was the GM of that team as well. And he cut me for like the 5th time in like 8 months or something.
What? I was going to say he liked you and brought you with.
You know what? Every interview he would tell me that he really liked me, and
and you just keep showing up.
It was like he was fucking just picking on me, but he actually was good to me, but just not quite good enough. And so I had an East Coast League deal with Chicago, and like you said, started out there, and then that American Thanksgiving, I got called up to Bridgeport, and I kind of said at that point it was make or break time for me, and I kind of told myself like I wasn't going to play another East Coast game. It was either I was going to break through and be like an American League player or better, I was going to retire, or I was going to look into going to Europe if anything came about, because I just wasn't gonna.
So I think so much of hockey is mental and truly believing in yourself. And when you get those opportunities in the AHL, the East Coast is like wherever it is, the NHL, when you truly believe in yourself and you truly think you're ready and it's like time, then you do it, right? Like, so when you get called up, you're like, I'm doing this, like we're doing this, right?
Yep. Yeah. And that's kind of what it was. It was, and I talked to my agent, and he was honest with me as well. And he said, this is your third team. This is your third call up. It's not going to keep happening. And basically is the message.
Eventually you're going to just stay down.
Yeah. You're either at one point you are what you are. And if you are just that in-between guy that keeps getting called up for a stint here when injuries pile up, you can be that guy for another 5 years. But if you're going to actually break through and knock the door down, you might want to go.
And now definitely you don't get 5 years. Now, like if you're not, if you're not there when you're 22, you're pretty well.
Yeah. The clock ticks a lot quicker these days, man.
Doesn't it?
And I'm lucky that I was given, multiple opportunities, because there's a lot of other guys that you just kind of get labeled. You get labeled an East Coast player, or you get labeled an American League player, or whatever it is.
Second League German, maybe, whatever the case may be.
For example.
Whatever the case may be. But
maybe now you're labeled a shed guy. And
well, I'm a
podcaster
now.
There you go.
But seriously, when you get to the AHL and you're like, enough's enough, I'm sticking here. What did you do differently? How did you play differently? And what opportunity did you get? Because sometimes you go up there and you play one shift. Did you fight more? Did you chip it in more? Did you actually try to make tape-to-tape passes more?
No, I fully embraced the fourth line, bottom six, right winger role. All through juniors, like joking about being the half wall guy. Like I'd always been like a power play guy, but I could always.
No, I'm not joking about it. I just because I read you wrong.
No, and that was probably my mistaken identity crisis. I should have been building towards what would eventually be a fruitful American League player as a bottom six forward. But I guess that's part of learning the game and learning yourself. You figure out. And when
pro does that to you, right? Because in college, you don't ask to be on the third or fourth line. You're not going to be on the third or fourth line when you are the best option on the power plays and everything else. You're going to play the most. Sorry for burping the mic again, folks. But like, seriously, until you get into pro and then you are that role, there's certain guys that can do it and there's certain guys that can't do it. And like, I couldn't do it. I couldn't be a third or fourth liner. But like, it's good on you that like, you're like, this is what I'm doing. I'm chipping it out. I'm chipping it in. I'm going to go hit that guy. And if I got to fight someone, right.
Yeah. So we had a tough team in Bridgeport. My first roommate was Trevor Gillies, and
he's pretty big.
He's big. Yeah. He was,
mine was Mike Scroy.
Then they're best buddies, the two of them.
Yeah. They're both pretty big.
I got called up, and I remember I walked into, I got my hotel room key, and you're always nervous when you're going to a new team. And I walk in, and been traveling all day and just expect to get my room to myself. And I walk in and open the door, and I see Trevor Gillies there with his full handlebar mustache, big biker looking guy. And I'd only seen like his fight videos, and you just have this,
who he is. Yeah,
exactly. And I walk in there, and you're almost kind of like thinking you're in the wrong room, or you're kind of invading in space. Couldn't have been a nicer guy to a young rookie, and he'd been in that situation himself. So he was kind of he had just been sent down from, I think, the Islanders. He played the first 2 months. But he couldn't have been friendlier, and he kind of had a big brother feeling to him. And him and I would say Brett Gallant, Michael Haley was there. They were all like, tough forwards that all kind of, they showed me the way a little bit, and how to play that style, and how to, stick up for yourself and protect your teammates, and be a good teammate
but you're not Trevor Gillies size.
No, but there was levels to it, right? So if Gillies was your heavyweight,
there's the next level, right?
And Gallant was certainly a heavyweight at that time. He was smaller than me by quite a bit, but he was beating up all the heavyweights, one of the toughest guys the game's probably ever seen, for like not even pound for pound. He's just he's an East Coaster. Those Maritime boys they're fucking built different, but you see what they're sacrificing, and the way they're preparing,
the way they're living, what they go through, what they do for the team, like what they'll do for you to try and make a buck, right?
Yep. So when you see those guys doing it, I think it's leadership, great leadership in a way, because if those guys that have been playing in the NHL and doing that, and I'm someone that's trying to make a name for myself, you better get in line and toe the rope, because they're putting it all on the line, and they got families that they're taking care of, and they're risking their health every night. So,
oh yeah, no, it's real. It was as real as it gets. And man, those fights were wild. I remember when I got there out of college, man, and after I'd only played in Elmira, my hometown, and then playing Western Michigan, where you kind of do whatever you want, and nobody can do anything because you can't fight. And then you get to pro, and you do a couple things that just aren't quite responsible. And it doesn't matter who you are. Like, it doesn't matter what level you're at. Like we talked about the levels, it doesn't matter what level you are. If you do something stupid, the highest level is coming to get you. And that happened to me.
Yeah, there was a price to your actions.
I never did it again. I cross-checked a guy going into the end wall, and I never did it again.
And I guess that's kind of the thing that a lot of people that don't understand the game, or that side of it, don't understand, is
the policing itself.
It keeps you honest, man. Like, if I knew Trevor Gillies was on the other bench, I was on my best behavior that game. But if he's not, it's like Cam Jansen in Nottingham, like I talked about with Mosey, is like, if you give that guy an inch, he's going to take the whole thing.
But if the other team's got someone that will at least stick up for their team and like at least a couple guys that are willing to do it, at least he's not running amok out there, right?
Yeah. And, on the flip side of that, if I know I've got Gillies sitting beside me, I'm not going to think twice about hitting your best player or, bumping into your goalie
and that's what I don't get, how it totally is gone from the game, because it's still a thing. It's got to still be a thing, right?
Yeah, no, it is to a certain extent, and it is still there. You see, that's why Reeves got traded to the Rangers. Like they didn't like seeing Panarin get picked on, and that's probably not going to happen again. Like that shit doesn't happen if Wilson's on the ice, Panarin's not getting face washed, or if Reeves is on the Rangers, Wilson's not doing whatever he wants to their whole lineup. It just changes the narrative.
It definitely does. And it's like back when I was in junior B and I had a night just last weekend with all the junior B guys sitting around a fire telling stories. And like, there was so much fighting back in the day of like, and there were the guys that like protected me to like, so I could be me. And if I didn't have those guys, I couldn't be me. Right. And that was the game. Like you had to have those guys so I could be me. And like for you, it was for you to be you. You had to have it sometimes a bigger level, or the other team doesn't have that guy. Right. Like it was all an element to the game.
Yeah. So it was a cool time. Like we had some really good young players that are all kind of,
holy moly. So yeah, we got to talk about where we're at, because we've just been shooting the shit. You're in Bridgeport and you're an AHLer now. You're legitimate now. You went there, you did it. You played fourth line. You learned from those guys. And I got you down here that you played for the Chicago Express for 15 games. And then the rest of that season, you're in Bridgeport. And the next season, you're an assistant captain of the AHL hockey team, right?
Yep.
That's pretty solid.
Yeah. And so we had like Casey Cizikas was a rookie my first year. Brock Nelson was a rookie. Nino Niederreiter. So like some really good young players. And, by that point I was 26, 27. So I was only a year in the league, but I was already an older guy. I had quite a bit of life experience. So I guess, being on a younger team, I was already kind of one of the leaders, and that was something that I learned quickly from, Gills and Gallant and some of the older guys that took me under their wing and just kind of showed me the way. So it was pretty cool. And the coach, Brent Thompson, was one of the best coaches I've had in my playing career. He was salt of the earth, like old school, tough as nails when he played, but kind of also blended with a new school mentality. He appreciated like the skill of the game, and he wasn't all about just the fighting. He expected players to stick up for each other, but he was super in tune with the way the game was trending to being faster and kind of more skill. And he kind of gave me a really good opportunity to play. And and he was one of the first ones that kind of congratulated me on becoming a full-time American League player.
So what kind of deal are you on when you're an assistant captain in the American League the second year? Because you were in the Coast, you work your way up to 55 games played, but then were you on you were on an East Coast deal? So you sign a one-way A deal the next year when you become the assistant captain, or are you on an NHL deal?
Partway through that year that I first got called up, right around March or something, they put myself and there's maybe like 3 or 4 other guys that had came up right around the same time from the Coast. We were all like Coast players, and we all went up, and the team did sick. Like went on a wicked run, made the playoffs, first time in quite a few years for Bridgeport. And that summer they gave me a 2-way NHL American League deal and invited me to NHL camp. But coincidentally, the lockout happened. So my one NHL contract, I was locked out.
Well, yeah, fun. I kind of got to go to one, not really. But fun fact is my kid's favorite hockey team is the New York Islanders. So you talked about Cizikas. He's had a picture with him. We went to a game because Tom Kuhnhackl from Landshut, Germany was on the team.
So there you go. He's a good Ontario boy. I think he's just outside of Oakville. I think from the same town as McMonagle, I believe.
I like the way he plays. He gives her. That guy gives her every shift, every game. That guy gives her.
One of the best. One of the coolest out there.
Yeah, is he? That's good. He seems like it. You can kind of tell he'd warm up to, because when I took Colby to a game, I don't know how this happens, but during warmups, Colby's chatting with Matt Martin's, I don't know, sister, family, and they seem like great people. And then you can tell Matt Martin's best friends with Casey Cizikas, and you're like, geez, these seem like the type of guys that I'd be hanging out with if I was on the team.
Yeah.
It doesn't take long to figure it out.
Yeah. It's character evaluation, Wally. You got it. Hey?
Well, I try to filter them out before the podcast, but we could let some strange characters on here. You never know who you're gonna get, when you're at episode 63, I think.
So are you doing? Are you doing 2 or 3 a week, or was this just
trying to do 2 a week, but life's getting a little bit too busy. We're going to need some kind of fourth wave or a lockdown to happen here because
is that what started you in on this?
That's kind of how, I was walking the dog. It was a lockdown. I was listening to pods, and I was like, there was one that was all NHL superstars, and I was like, geez, that's not what I'm into. And then there was other ones that were into like working out and trying to be the best you can be, which I mean, fun too, but not what I was into. And then I was like, what I'd be into is like hearing about like the real stories of like the guys that almost did her, or even the guys that did do her. All of them. I don't care who it is. I like stories from everybody.
Yeah, that's
and
sweet.
I wanted to catch up with my friends. That's how I got into it. I wanted a reason to call all my friends, and my Hendo, the guy that was the rookie to last year, he texted me and said, so you figured out a way to go out to your shed, have a couple beers with all of your buddies, and it's okay. And I'm like,
3 times a week.
Well, if you're lucky, but I don't think I can get one in until next Wednesday, man. I'm too busy. But I like I said, I thought I always tried to be ahead of the curve, with like the between the legs, the spinaroonies that all these young punks are doing now. I was trying to do it. Oh yeah.
Who's calling it a spinaroonie?
Oh dear. Yeah. I used to spin like crazy. Oh yeah. And then
but I've never heard it called a spinaroonie.
Well, that's because I was doing it in the early 2000s before everybody else. Patrick Kane and Austin Matthews, you can spin around all you want. That shit was happening in the second league of Derby long ago.
Spinaroonie.
Yeah, that's right. God. Spinaroonies.
You should trademark that. That's good.
Didn't always work, especially when you got older and your knees didn't work. That's when you get injured trying to do spinaroonies at that age. But okay, so you're the assistant captain. You're on it. So you're NHL deal, and you're an assistant captain getting 165 PIMs. You feel close to like you're knocking on the door. Like they could call you any day. You're in the AHL. You're an assistant captain. You got to feel like any day they're like, and then you see all these other punks going or what?
We were locked out. There was
the lockout. Gosh.
Yeah, it was locked out until I think the end of January. So the American Hockey League was unbelievable at this year.
Oh, that's the year in Germany where all those guys come over.
Yeah. The league was incredible.
And you're an assistant captain then?
Well,
but then you're getting a year older. Geez, you could have made it if that wouldn't have happened. That lockout really could have jammed you up.
Didn't get it sucked. Didn't get the 1 year on my NHL contract to go to a legitimate camp and really try to make it. But I mean, is what it is. Like there was a lot of guys that were in the same boat. The way it goes.
Yeah, same. It's like COVID, right? It's like
Yeah,
it happened to everybody.
exactly. And same thing happened this year, or not this year, but when COVID hit, everyone had something to be pissed about. Like,
okay, so then what do you sign then after that? Then you go to the St. John's Ice Caps. That's what the Winnipeg Jets.
Yep. So I was going through for free agency, and it came down, which is crazy now, but I was negotiating a contract between St. John's and Winnipeg and Vancouver, which is like my hometown team growing up. But they wouldn't really budge on their American League money.
So you're getting NHL, AHL deal.
Yep.
With good AHL money, and their AHL money wasn't the same as the other ones.
Exactly. And Winnipeg was still offering me an invite to their NHL training camp. And if, they were basically offering the same stuff, they just didn't have room for an NHL deal. So I knew some of the guys in St. John's. Some of my best buddies, actually, Zach Redmond, who was with me at Ferris State, was with St. John's at the time. My buddy Kale Mulrat was my roommate in Bridgeport. He was one of the PTO guys that I lived in the hotel with. He was in St. John's now, and it just felt like I was happy to go somewhere that they really wanted me. If the other deal, if they would just come up and match the money or get halfway there, I would have gone to.
Right. Well, then they really want you, but then you do have to make those decisions based on that. And you go to a new organization where it's new coaches, it's new players, it's new people, it's all new, and you don't have a role established or anything. But I guess basically North American minor pro is basically it used to be a free for all. Every training camp was basically literally like you're playing for everything, right?
Yep. When I got to Winnipeg, I found out, pretty quick that I was strictly
going down.
And I'll tell you how
they were giving you the big AHL money to teach the young punks how to be pros.
Yep. And they were
did they tell you that before?
No, but they also didn't say that they were bringing me in to be like a potential NHL call-up guy. They were honest about it. They were a well-run franchise. St. John's was independently owned at the time, and they really took care of their players and they tried to win. Winnipeg was the same. Their owners, as much as they could take care of the guys, they went above and beyond, because that's kind of what they have to do there to recruit and retain players at the NHL level. So both organizations, they were almost like a perfect fit. But when I went to Winnipeg to check in for the training camp, you go to the hotel and, usually you check in and they give you your keys. Well, I checked in, told them my name, and they said, "Oh yeah, Mr. Riley, we have you checking out on whatever it was, September 9th, which was about 10 days later."
So they told you when you were getting cut, they had already decided.
Well, they didn't, but the guy at the front desk of my hotel sure did.
Yeah, he knew.
No one else told me, but I knew.
Well, hey, at least you got 10 days, man. I got 48 hours.
Yeah, well, at that point, I was like, do I really want to muck it out in camp for the next 10 days? And then you get to day 9 and you're like, all right, well, I'm obviously, I'll be chatting to the coach tomorrow, I assume. And then they kind of come into like the breakfast area and they were pulling guys out one at a time. And the coach came in and he looked right at me and he asked if I knew where someone else was. And I was like, maybe I'm getting another day here. Goes and cuts my buddy, came back, grabbed me. I'm like, you probably could have just taken me right away. You knew you were going to cut me.
So you did get that, yeah?
It was right on the day, yeah. No, they had it set up at the hotel perfectly.
Wow, that sucks. Yeah, I know. Sometimes they have an idea what they're doing with players. It's like when you watch TSN or Sportsnet now or whatever the hell they are. Like, literally every team, based on the players' contracts, they already know what their team is. Like, there's no tryouts anymore. The team is what they are, and everybody's gonna be on the power play in the certain positions they're supposed to be on based on who they are and how they played. Like, it's hard to crack in now because everybody's got their positions based on how much money they make.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The team's perfectly structured.
The only teams that win are the where players play above the money grade, right?
Exactly. And the way you get called up is if one of the, lower salaried guys go down, because if a bigger salary guy goes down, they're going to bring someone else in that's, making that amount.
Oh, it's a strange game over here. So, you do 2 years with the St. John's Ice Caps, and all I got here is 70 games played, 20 points, at least 100 PIMs. Um, but you're still getting older.
Not getting younger. That's
not younger. Every day, we're getting older. Shoot.
That is true.
So did you feel like you were gonna maybe get a call up? How old are you at that point, St. John's?
No, I think about after that training camp, I kind of, yeah, I was,
the way you were treated, you had an idea where you were.
Yeah, not that I wasn't treated poorly. I was treated extremely well in that organization, but
but it was clear where you stood.
It was clear. It was clear for me, and I was 28 years old, and I was not on an NHL contract, so it was pretty obvious, and I was fine with that. I never expected to be a full-time American League player, so it was all gravy for me, and to go to camp was still cool. It was still something I appreciated, and I never took that for granted. So
yeah, well, you really did go to an NHL camp, and that would have been cool, right? Like, you were there for 10 days.
Yeah, I think it was 10 days, and St. John's was a unbelievable spot to be. So
and you were there for 2 years. So yeah, I tell you, man, everything I've heard since I started the pod, like, I really didn't know East Coasters that well, but everyone I have on, the more I get to know about it since I've been doing it, like, I really hadn't been that exposed to it until Joey Haddad and Chris Colligan in Cardiff. And they were two of my favorite guys on the team. I had to shine them right away. And then I go over there for a night, and Dixon seems like a beauty. And like, when, like, there seem like just great people out there. So you're out there for 2 years. You must have fun. Did you eat donaires?
More the poutine, the poutin.
Oh, you're more of a poutine guy, eh?
Well, once I got to the UK, I was into the donaires. But
wow, the UK donair game isn't that good. I tell you, Germany.
Yeah,
that's where shit gets real.
No, the Newfoundland has great poutine. Yeah, really.
It was a good 2 years, and you're getting older. So then you finish those 2 years with them, and you got a decision, but you still played another season. We're not there yet, folks. Still got another season in Stockton.
You glanced over the Calder Cup run we went on.
Oh shit, you're right. No, sorry, I got that written down here too.
Did you?
No, no, I did. I had the original on the original notes, not before the final draft. Gosh darn it. Oh, I had the rough notes, and then but no, I got it. You ready? It's in my brain. You ready? 20 games played, 6 points, or 21 games played, whatever. Either way, I was going to ask you, like, did you almost win, like, 20 something games played? You're in the finals and like almost winning the whole dang thing. And that's big time in the AHL. When you're almost winning it, that means guys are going to make the NHL out of that.
Wally, it was devastating. We lost. So we were 1-1 going back to St. John's playing against Texas.
I don't think I want to hear it. Okay, go ahead.
It hurts. We lost game 3 in overtime. And so this is in St. John's. Our rink's been sold out every game the whole year. So we're 1-1. We lose game 3 in overtime, down 2-1. We lost game 4 in overtime to go down 3-1. And we lost game 5 in overtime to lose the cup on home ice.
All of them in overtime.
All of them in overtime.
It sucks losing. I lost my first 2 years of pro. I lost in the East Coast. We did the same thing. We were the Daytona Beach Bombers from Ohio, and we made it all the way to the finals and won the first game. Like, we shouldn't have been there. We put Florida out in 7 games in the semis. We get there, and we win the first game in Idaho, and then we ended up losing 3 games in a row and losing 4 games to 1, and it's tough. And then the next year we lose in the final game of the series. It's best of 5, game 5 in overtime. So that's my first 2 years of pro, and those things hurt, man. You never forget that shit. But you're in the AHL. You're a step away from the NHL, and you're on a team that's almost winning it. That's where scouts are watching every game. They're like, why are these teams winning? So what are you? You're a third, fourth liner playing the wing?
4th line, right wing. We were like the
How old are you?
I would have been 28, I guess. Yeah. But we had a good mix of like some good veterans. And then some of the young kids now, like Adam Lowry, who's, signed a nice ticket with the Jets, made a good career. Ben Sherratt was one of our D-men who signed a nice deal. And
he's a good player.
He's a really good player. Josh Morrissey was he was our junior call-up, ended up being one of our best defensemen. Beskarwani, who was our goalie in Belfast, was a backup. Michael Hutchison was the starter. He was a sick goaltender and had a good career. So we had a lot of guys that were knocking at the door and ended up making good careers out of that. So like you said, you go on a run like that, a lot of people kind of take notice. And
you're in St. John's. That place would have been loving it.
The best, man. The best place for a St. Paddy's Day celebration, I tell you. That's why I had you post that picture of the all in the green. That was 3 of my buddies. We spent probably 4 straight days on George Street in Newfoundland, St. John's. Nothing better. Live tunes and
man, the life hockey players live and all the different places they go, and like when there are fun nights, they get to go out and enjoy them sometimes. Like the stories you hear on the pods and like you saying that, it's like, well, like how many guys these days our age are going to Newfoundland and going out on the streets and doing whatever, right? Like, I'm just excited to go to the shed.
You would be excited to go to Newfoundland, though. It's a great place.
I feel like I would really like the people out there for sure.
They're the best. So highly recommend it for anyone.
Well, that sucks. You guys lost. And I don't know what else to say about that, but you still have a lot of shit to talk about. We've been talking a while.
Okay. Keep her moving. Sorry.
You know what I mean? No, but like you're right. When you almost win in the AHL, you got to talk about that. And I had it written down. It didn't make it. Somehow it got overlooked when I was making my final version.
Hey, let's get to the good shit here, Wally. Your time's running out in the shed, isn't it?
Nope. Well, do you want to skip over the Stockton Heat because it doesn't sound that fun?
No, it really wasn't that much fun. Again,
the only thing I was gonna say was you're an assistant captain again, but like I could tell you're just the leader. So like, yeah, you seem to be the captain everywhere you went. Or one of them.
The good thing about that is, so the weather in St. John's in the winter it's miserable. That was the one tough part.
Is it snow or rain mainly? It's a lot of snow.
Snow, a lot of snow.
A lot of snow.
Yeah, the winter was tough. The travel was really tough. After 2 years, we'd have long road trips, and after the 2 years, I told everyone, I said, that California division just started up, and I said, I'm going to play in Cali. You guys watch. And I got the only offer I got was from Stockton, and it came right at the end of the August, like, towards the end of summer. and it ended up being in Cali. Not really the California that I pictured when I was.
So I got a question for you then.
Yeah.
If it's the end of August, you're, what are you, 28, 29?
I think I was 29. Yeah, turning 30 probably. That.
So, and you're waiting that long for an AHL deal. Like, was there some?
Yeah, I was concerned, Wally.
I was just gonna say, like, I remember the summers where, like, I didn't have in Europe, where if I didn't have a deal till like if it wasn't May, June, I was like, geez, what's going on?
I was concerned, but I will say this: my agent had a hell of a poker face because he had me believing that I had things on the go.
Yeah, and I understand. Oh, maybe here, maybe there.
I'm having some conversations. There's some good things going on.
A lot of talks.
Yeah, I'm talking to teams. Yeah, I'm like, I'm sure you're talking to teams, but I don't think my name's coming up in those conversations.
Are you talking about the other guys? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you're talking to teams, but
yeah, I felt like that guy before too.
And by the time he phoned me with this contract offer, I could hear him like gasping over the phone, being like, I didn't think I was getting that done. I got to say that I was getting real concerned.
He's feeling pretty good about himself, hey? But he's really building you up with confidence for the season.
He was
out.
Very, very relieved. So, Stockton it was nice for the weather. It was a rugged ass town, a dangerous place to live, and it really wasn't all that fun. But
and so the weather doesn't really weigh out
the weather was really like
weather's one thing, but like lifestyle and the way things are is one thing. I get it. Yeah. Moving on, you play that year, you only play 45 games. Did you get hurt?
No, I did for a short period of time, but so when I said in St. John's, I knew that it was pretty much like the end of the line. Stockton like confirmed it. It was like,
you're either going to Europe or that's it.
Yeah, it was, I was more of a big brother, trying to be a good pro for the younger kids and a mentor, and mixing a game a week kind of thing. Like, you weren't playing every night. That's for sure. I wasn't. I shouldn't say you weren't. I wasn't.
No, I understand. I never got to play at all in that league, so I get it.
Yeah, but it was no,
fun. And like, yeah, you know where you stand, right, with people and how they treat you and like where you are with them. It's pretty simple to read, I think, usually.
Yeah, no, it was fine. They weren't dishonest about it, and I was fine with where it was, and it was just time for me to look overseas. And
so then how do you end up in Belfast? Were there any other options?
There was. There was in the UK for sure.
Definitely. Like if you're going to Belfast, you could pretty well go anywhere in the UK.
I didn't actually start looking till kind of a little bit later. I shouldn't say later, but it was.
Were you one of those guys that wanted to keep doing the North American thing?
No, I just
sounds like
I just wasn't really sure. Then that's kind of why I wanted to get into being a player agent, is because I wasn't really sure how to get over there. I didn't know who the best guy was or what the leagues were all about. You just don't have enough information that, who knows where you're going to fit. And my North American agent said, I don't think you're a European player. And I said, well, okay, I don't think you're a European agent. So I wasn't asking for you to get me there. I was just telling you that I'm no longer staying here. But I just didn't know what my options were. So I didn't have, I guess, the pursuit of whatever leagues I should have been going at. But by the time.
Well, and like for me, I had no clue. I had zero idea about anything. All I knew is I didn't want to go to the an East Coast AHL deal, or I didn't want to go to just the East Coast deal. And they send me like the deal for the year, and like you're on the team for the year, and it's like the same as an AHL contract. I'm like, well, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah. So
that's the second league in Germany. But like when you don't know, like you don't know where you're going, you don't know much about anything. Like people would have to start podcasts for people to know about this shit, right?
there you go. Hey, you're saving lives almost.
Jeez, man. People might start reaching out saying they want me to be their agent because I got all these pipelines to places.
No, I don't think they're going to do that.
Really? Shoot.
Fine.
Yeah, so it was okay, I'm not an agent. That's fine.
I'd always planned on doing the Masters route at one stage, but that was I was thinking I was going to go play in Europe, like Germany, for example, and then finish my career in the UK and do my Masters, and that would kind of be it. When I kind of saw the opportunity in Belfast, and Chris Higgins, who I'd played with in Vegas as well, he was kind of the one that really talked me into it. And the more I thought about doing the school, it felt like it was time to start, really looking towards doing something else, because it became, well, I guess when you get to 30, you start to realize that this thing you've been doing isn't going to last forever. You look around and guys you were playing with 5 years ago, they're not playing anymore. And it's like, it's a bit of a reality check, and you better either be ready for it or you're going to get slapped in the face when it happens.
You're right. No, it was a good decision to go there and do that. I mean, yeah, there's no other way. You got to be ready for the next step because it's not always that easy for everybody. And you get so into what you're doing as a hockey player, and like trying to make it and trying to get the next contract and score more goals and win more games. And you don't even think about the rest of life, right? You're so into your own thing.
And, and it's not like you have, if everyone had like 30, if you got to 35, that's when it stopped. But you don't have that. Some guys are 31, some guys are 32, some guys get to 40. You don't have like a specific expiration.
But it's all about different, like what opportunities you have outside of hockey, what you don't have outside of hockey, what your education is, what your parents have done, there's so many different factors into how many. I used to tell people you played hockey until it didn't make sense anymore. And that's kind of what it is. But then there's also guys that don't get asked back, right? You also don't get asked back, and then it's time to turn the page. But then there's also times where the real hard decisions are where you still do get offered back and you still do get contracts. And it's hard to turn the page on playing a game for a living.
Yeah. Yeah. I would assume that that's probably the better scenario of the two, though. Like, it's better to have.
I agree.
Better to have options.
Yeah. Okay. So you go to Belfast, and that's an awesome city and great rink. Tell me about your experience in Belfast.
It was fantastic. It was, I listened actually to a bit of Alex Foster's interview. Well, the parts that weren't cutting out or freezing. That wasn't the shed, was it?
I hope not.
No.
We're hardwired in now, but we weren't then.
Yeah.
Didn't happen with anybody else though, did it? So I guess okay.
That was the first one I listened to, and
yeah,
I didn't know. Maybe the 30 before that was happening.
It didn't. No, that was the only one. So I'm pretty sure it's his fault.
It was him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
It was foggy.
Other than Rob Collins, but that was Huron Tel's issue. That's my internet provider's issue. They sucked up to that one. Okay. Other than that, like we've been flying high right now. We're doing good here.
This is great.
Yeah, nobody's even froze yet. Hardly.
Belfast was great. The rink was awesome. We lived in unreal apartments downtown.
Are you right down by the arena and like the Titanic thing?
I was my second, third year. My first year, I was actually just right across the bridge, like right across from the bars. Like, I actually couldn't believe it. I tried to get the same apartment the next year, but they were like, that was
too much.
Well, they're probably like, we were just trying to rope you in.
Now you got to live out in the suburbs.
No, the apartments both by the rink and the Titanic Quarter are awesome, and the one I was in my first year were both really good. Like, So are you sharing with dudes? My first year, yeah, I did all three years. I shared a room. Yeah. The majority of guys that don't have families there, obviously everyone.
Well, why wouldn't you, right? Like, what else are you gonna do?
Yeah, and we would share, like, shared vehicle. We were going to practice the same time every day together, and we were back home at the same time. And we never really, outside of that, we would drive to the practice rink, which was a bit of a drive, and we'd do groceries once a week. Other than that, we were downtown, so we didn't need to drive anywhere.
It seems like an awesome city, man. Like, when I was there for the brief time, like, just walking around, there's so much to do, right?
Like a really, really cool city. Beautiful, little rainy, which got a little bit old, but compared to like a Canadian winter, like, there was no snow. Like, it was cold and windy.
Same as in Cardiff, man. It rained all the time, but there was no real snow. You didn't have you didn't have a winter jacket.
I
just rained.
Complain about the winter. I'm like, this isn't winter. This is, like, it's inconvenient. But
this is rain.
But this is just fine for me. Like, yeah, we got treated really well. Like, the city was great. The travel sometimes got a little bit tough because we would take the ferry to Scotland quite a bit, and then we had to fly everywhere. So that was kind of good and bad. You get a lot of time at the hotel with the guys. We would usually play Saturday, Sunday, or we'd play Saturday at home, fly Sunday morning, play Sunday afternoon, and then stay overnight. So it'd be
totally different playing on that island compared to Cardiff, right?
It was so different seeing the schedules. Like, the amount of overnight games or stays we had in the hotel with Belfast compared to, like, Cardiff or Sheffield, it wasn't even comparable. Like,
right.
The travel schedules are vastly different. And, when you had
what do you do, right? Like, there's
nothing you can do.
There's one on an island, and then
there's nothing you can do about it. And they make it as workable as
it is on an island, right? Like, I'm not sounding really stupid right now, am I? Jeez, if the UK fans are listening to this, they might be like, this guy is.
Nope, you nailed it, Wally. It's an island.
See how educated I am, folks? That's the Met. Andrew Hotham, don't talk about the Met like that ever again.
Was he trashing Met?
Well, he just talked about, I don't know, someone plagiarizing papers and then him cheating off of me. No, this was way before you guys. This was when we were the first year in the Met. Yeah, it was like the Wild West out there.
The problem with Benty is he had to go to school with Dicko. So they couldn't, it's not like they were going to, plagiarize each other's paper. They would have both.
It's got to be so fun. Like, each year with who goes to do the NBA, like it was me, Marshy, and Hotham that did it together. And we had a hoot, and, like, we'll be connected forever for that season. And Benty and Dicko and whoever the other guy was that did it, like, they'll remember those days, right? Like,
yep,
it's fun. Who'd you do it with in Belfast?
There was a bunch of us. So the program I did it with Whistle, which
the goalie is he? Is he UK or
I don't
what
even
is he?
think Whistle had graduated high school and he was doing a master's. So I guess that kind of tells you what that piece of paper means. But my first year, there's quite a few guys in Belfast that do the program. But my first year, Saviano, Martinelli, Alex Foster, me and Whistle were both in it.
Well, Foster says he's only half done.
That was my first year.
We forgot talking about that, right?
Yeah, he didn't return for the second half. But Martinelli and Saviano did. Who else did it? There was Cole Jarrett did part of it. Yeah, he did half. I don't know. There's probably like 6 or 7 guys each year that are doing.
There's that many guys?
Yeah, some guys are doing the MBA. I was in the sports management. Like there's a couple different options. I think Cardiff, and for the most part, most teams, they don't have a ton of spots in the university. So it's
no, like I remember Cardiff had 3. I don't know what it is now, but I think maybe that's why Belfast had 6 or 7, because only 3 would get to finish.
Yeah, but if you can get guys in, it
helps the team so much. Like that's the only reason I went to the UK was for the NBA. Only reason.
It's a huge advantage over some of the other leagues. And I think guys that are playing now are starting to really realize how much more like 50,000 euros playing in Germany or whatever, that money is more or less gone within, a year.
Doesn't take long.
It doesn't take long.
No. But an MBA is there forever, right?
It's for good. Like the value of that it's just never taken away from you. If you put the time into it, it's just, you can put that on your resume and you'll actually get a phone call for an interview.
No, you're right. And then if you get the opportunity, you got to do it.
Yeah.
Okay. I tried to see if there were any fun questions from your Belfast time, but I texted Patty Dwyer and I'm like, you got anything to ask him? He goes, not really. He's a great dude. Tell him I say hi. So that didn't work. So Patty says hi.
How do you know Patty?
I went to university with him for 3 years.
Oh yeah, both Western boys. Okay.
Oh God, yeah, I know Patty well. He's a Potter.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he was early days, man. Yeah, he's like in the 20s or 30s, I think.
He was a nasty player, that's for sure. He was sick, and a good dude, man. He was funny. He had a good time. I think his 1 year over there. But Kazoo is a good little town. We would go up there and.
Were the Ferris boys coming up?
Oh yeah, we were coming.
You were coming to Kalamazoo. You were coming to our stomping grounds, the Bulldogs.
We were coming in and doing whatever we wanted.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah.
Really? Well, You know what? I don't blame you, because I've been to your town for a Sugar King thing. Yeah. I'd be coming to fucking Kalamazoo too, because that place sucked.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And Kalamazoo is awesome.
It was awesome. Yeah.
You're right. And you probably were doing whatever you wanted, because it was a great time.
It was a good time. We went down there we'd go down there every spring, because a lot of the guys on our team were like from Detroit area, and
so they know a guy, right?
Yeah. And a buddy of mine played at Western when I was there. Everyone kind of has connections, so we went down there a few times. It's a sweet place.
Okay, we're getting sidetracked because the fans have been waiting for a long time, so we're gonna make them wait a little bit longer. Winning in Belfast, like, you guys won it all, right? With Patty Dwyer. Right? Yep. Are you the captain?
Yep.
So you were the assistant captain a lot in the EIHL. That would have been like, it's kind of got to be kind of cool to be named the captain of like a team in Europe. Like, people don't forget that shit, right?
Yeah, it was cool. It was, yeah, it was a good honor, especially because the year before I'd played with Kiefer, who was, he was obviously a
And
legend
he's your
there.
teammate, and then he becomes the coach and he says, "This is the captain." That's pretty cool. For
Yeah.
sure.
So, it means a lot in that sense, because I had so much respect for
And it
Kiefer.
should.
And just knowing that he was putting that much trust in me with his first year of coaching to kind of help him navigate the room was it was a big honor for sure. And it meant a lot.
And it should. No, that is a huge honor. It's the same as Lordo doing that for Tyson Marsh in Cardiff when he was the player coach. And like Marshy didn't want to be the captain. He's like, I'm doing school. I got enough going on. And like the players were like, no, you are the captain. Like,
Yeah. It's
yeah,
not your choice.
yeah. Sorry. That's just the way it is. So I get it. But so you guys win it. What was it like? Did you guys win it when you weren't playing?
Yep.
That
Yep.
Patty told me that, right? You guys were just at like an awards night, and then Cardiff loses, and like as Canadian hockey players, and how effed up the UK league is, that it's just the league is the biggest thing, and that's the biggest thing for all the fans and all that. To win it when you're not even playing and you're at an awards night at the end of the season, like that's gotta be kind of different, no?
Well, I guess I didn't know it any other way. So, so I guess it was, yeah, probably very different, but I hadn't won anything until then. So,
That was your first time.
well, we won the Challenge Cup the year before, but that was a first trophy. Yeah.
Challenge Cups count. That's all I had.
Absolutely. And up until this awards banquet, I was like counting it more than anything else that's ever counted before. But it was almost like we didn't like we just didn't even consider that it was a possibility that Cardiff would like
Lose that game.
or just get it to overtime. That's all they had to do was just get it to OT. So like, we were pretty proud of the season we had. We had a good team, and we just ran out of time basically. I think if there was another 5 games, we probably thought we would have got it over the hump, but it just wasn't going to happen. And I don't know, we just kind of checked the scores partway through the game, and it was almost even then you're like, okay, I've seen I've seen this story before, and like
they'll turn it around.
Exactly, like it'll get to the third period, and they'll probably win 5-1.
Don't count your eggs.
And honestly, until like I don't know, I guess until we were celebrating, like it still felt like they're probably going to win the game.
And you're not even. That's what's so bizarre to me is that you're not even playing a hockey game. Like you've grown up playing best of 7 series and you're playing the playoffs. And then when I hear that story of you guys like at an awards ceremony and you're not even playing a game and then you find out you're the winners, it's like, I guess that's real.
Like even I don't know, one of the first interviews or conversation, I said, this might be the only time something like this ever happens. It's just like, it's
bizarre.
Such a bizarre thing. But it was cool at the same time because our entire fan base was there, kind of, like our biggest supporters were there because the awards banquet, everyone.
The best fans, the most passionate ones, the ones that are even friends with the players that come and have drinks with you. And yeah, now I know the people. They're in the Cardiff. You got to know them. So I get it. You guys won. Okay. So I also know Todd Kelman. And I also know he's a smart, intelligent man. And I have a feeling that he was like, that guy is the heart and soul of the Belfast Giants. He is the guy that got them to beat us. And I'm going to take him. And he did.
You think he was thinking that?
I know he was.
Addition by subtraction, maybe.
What do you mean?
Is that what that is?
No, that's what he did. He was like, is that math? What'd you say?
You're an NBA guy?
Addition by subtraction, yeah. uh, no, but seriously, like I know what he was doing, and I bet you he had like the night you signed with Cardiff. I bet you that boy had a night because I know him.
It was.
How'd it go down? Tell me your story. How does it go down? Why? Tell me the whole thing. I want to know because I think Todd Kelman that won't retweet anything about the podcast.
He's giving you no love?
Nothing. Cardiff Devils give me nothing. I'm almost a Sheffield Steeler fan now because they retweet stuff about the podcast and their fans are getting into it. And Todd won't do anything.
Yeah, that's because you had Simsies on though, and he's running the social media, right? So that doesn't.
Rumor has it Todd is too, but they just keep passing it by. No retweets since this started.
You haven't invited Todd on, so maybe that's.
He's been on.
Has he been on?
Oh God, yeah. Oh yeah. This thing keeps happening, man. Whether you like it or not, twice a week. But seriously, tell me the story.
So yeah, Todd.
He took their heart and soul.
He reached out.
Season's over. You just won it.
Yeah, it was a little bit after. I was actually on a little vacation after the season because after we won the trophy, we still, as you know, have playoffs in the UK. So we still had to play. We played Coventry the next weekend, who had just handed us the trophy because they beat Cardiff the week before. And then we still had to play the Final Four the following weekend. And we played Cardiff again in the playoff final. So it was still, I don't know, maybe 3 weeks, a month after the trophy that I'd end up signing. So it was quite a while after we'd actually won the league, but
you had to have had offers to stay as the captain of the Belfast Giants.
Didn't quite get there, but yeah.
The preliminary talks were like, do you want to come back?
Yeah. Like Kiefer was great to me and Thorts as well. And they would have had me back. I assume I had a second year option of a contract that I had to turn down before I signed with Cardiff.
Okay. So you had the option. So they're probably sitting there thinking he might take the option, and then Todd swoops in.
Yeah. And, the owners and Todd.
Well, they are who they are. And then once you meet them and you're like, yeah, no, yeah. Right.
Yeah. And they gave me an offer that, I wasn't going to turn down at that stage of my career. So I was happy to, originally talk to them and see, where they were at with things. And, it progressed pretty quickly. Like I think they gave a really fair offer that I wasn't going to turn down. And
well, I don't know what it would be. Doesn't matter because it's the UK league. It's really not that much money.
Exactly.
It really isn't that much. But I remember after the night I was in Cardiff, I got tied up at the rink with some people for a while, and you guys had been out. And then I finally ran into you guys at the end of the night. It was you and Dicko sitting at a table. And I came up to chat with the old boys that, kind of my era a little bit, somewhat. And I was like, I thanked you. I was like, you leaving Belfast to come here, like it like, look at what they just did for me, bringing me over. Like, I think it's great that, I mean, I, I mean, what they do for people, but like, I get your side. Like, you love Belfast too. Like, you have nothing bad to say about that, right? It's just a decision, right? Like,
Yeah, and I mean there was more to it. I knew McMonagle was going to sign there, and he was one of my good buddies. I knew Haddadi, and a lot of the guys in Belfast were either retiring or were moving on. So the whole team
it was
was
changing.
it was turning over. Yeah, and it kind of it sucked, but like a lot of the guys that I'd played with weren't going to be there. Like Shieldsy retired, Paddy Dwyer retired. Uh, you know, Kendall McFall didn't come back. Rochi and Murph both went to Europe. Besco went to Europe, who was my roommate at the time. Um, it was just going to be a completely new team, and
But like for me, what I thought it was cool was that like I know Todd and I know like he wants to win and he knows why teams win. And he picked you out and he was like, they win because of him and I'm gonna figure out a way to get him. And that's why the Cardiff Devils win is because they know what wins. And I met you for one night for like a few minutes,
well,
and I'm like, this dude's a leader. This guy is like just I could just tell. Just
yeah, but I mean the bigger reasons we want are guys like Besco, who, Todd wasn't going to be able to sign. Murph scored 50 goals. He was going to Europe, so he wasn't going to sign them. So like I
you
said,
can
Dwyer.
say what you want.
Yeah. So of all the
I don't
guys
even
that
know
were
who they
leaving,
are. I know who you are.
they were, yeah, that's because
Just
I
kidding.
stayed in the
Just
league.
kidding.
But yeah, and I had known Lordo. Like I said, I played against him in junior, and their uh, their pedigree for winning was like pretty evident over that time. And they had that core group like with Marty and Haddadi and Fournier and Dicko, and then their Brits. They were all
Downsy, yeah.
Jonesy, Richie, Myers, like those guys. It was like it was a team that was going to stay together. So I was going to sign for 2 years, and hopefully play out longer than that. And I would have been with that group. And
Yeah. Yeah.
the turnover in Belfast was tough, especially when you're the captain. Like it's tough, like
To start
reintegrating.
it all over again. I
You know,
totally, yeah, I know. I do know.
so it was obviously a tough decision, but it wasn't just like you said. It wasn't life changing money. Like no one in the UK is
No,
retiring. Like I said, I had to throw a resume together the second I got back to
pretty
Canada.
quick. Yeah,
you know,
pretty quick. Yeah, you got to
uh,
throw that resume together pretty quick when you've been in the UK league. Doesn't matter how much you made.
if you're looking at like complementary cities, like Cardiff and Belfast are quite similar. Like same size kind of city, downtown's quite similar. Um, Belfast would definitely get the nod for the live music and the pub scene, but Cardiff probably gets them on Chippy Lane. you know,
Well, they both have their
they
things, and like it's and like then the travel, like you talked about, and they
mm-hmm.
each have their own things, but like the top teams are the top teams every year, and they do have a lot to offer, but you don't retire after. So
No, they don't have that much to offer.
so you do go to Cardiff, and I don't have much written down about that other than you play for the league, which means every game matters like it's game 7 of the playoffs, but they let you and you do make the Spengler Cup. So you would have missed some games that they think are game 7 and they let you go. And I think it's really cool that you made the team because then at my desk at work, I get to tell people, I'm like, that dude's a Cardiff Devil. Like I played for them and he's in the Spengler Cup. So thank you.
Well, yeah, like you said, thank Lordo and Todd. They were I mean, they were more excited for it than I was at the time, because I wasn't sure how to approach them, because like
How did it come about?
um so I got a phone call, and I've grown up and trained in Kamloops, and Shane Doan has always spent his summers here, always trained together with the same trainer. Ended up being, a pretty good friend of mine, and he ended up being a part of the management team for Team Canada. And I guess he had told some people, my trainer and some other friends here, that he was going to try and get me there if he could. And they had a couple injuries, and he just told Sean Burke, who was the GM, he said, I got a guy in Cardiff that'll come in and be a good team guy, and be someone that'll really enjoy the experience and be a good 14th, 15th forward for us. So I played the game, I think, right before our Christmas break. And, in the UK, the Christmas break's like maybe 3 days, maybe 4 days.
Maybe two.
Yeah, with Lordo, usually you got to practice
Yeah.
Christmas morning. Lordo's at the rink. You're opening presents with Lordo. And he called me after the game, and we were actually, the whole team was just going to a Christmas party that we had set up downtown. And, he basically said, we got a flight for you tomorrow if you're ready to go. And I was completely like shocked.
So where are you? Sorry.
We just played a home game in Cardiff. I think we just played.
And the Devils don't know about it?
They didn't know anything about it. No, he called my cell phone, and we were just like hustling out of the room to go and load up.
Who called your cell phone?
Donor, yeah. And so as we're trying to get everyone like saddled up to get on the bus to go to this team party, I got this call, and I went right into Lordo's office. He was probably just getting into breaking down the video from that night's game. And
yuck. Fucking video. Good God, that's disgusting.
I just told him kind of the call I got, and his face lit up, man. He was like,
so, what I'd say about Lordo though is he pushes everybody to the max. Like, he really does. He tries to push everybody to the max, but that guy has a good heart and wants everybody to do as best as they can in hockey, right?
He could not have been happier for me. Like,
exactly. He would have been so jacked, right?
Like honestly, and it was the most genuine, like, he couldn't have been more excited to have me tell him that news, which is pretty cool. And he was like, you gotta go. He's like, you absolutely gotta go. And I was like, man,
thank you. Yeah.
I'm gonna miss like 4 games. And he's like, I'll call Todd right now and let him know. And
perfect.
And Todd was as accepting, and both super happy for. So, pretty cool, because as you say, like, those games are so important at that time, and the games are so like, they're just crushed right in on the schedule in between Christmas and New Year's. And it's like,
well, that's the thing, right? They do put on a lot of games during the holidays because fans are off work, and then you're going there and just sipping Glühwein and hanging out in the mountains in Switzerland. But like, you deserve it, and that's really freaking cool, man.
Yeah. So it was, like I said, not something I was expecting at all. And me and my girlfriend went to the Christmas party, and we had to stay for like a drink and go pack. Like, we had to go pack, grab all our stuff, and like straight to the airport. We traveled the whole next day, almost missed our flight to into Switzerland, and like, yeah, it was cool.
So you guys end up winning it too, eh? And like, I've seen the pictures, like all the families, they're out there playing pond hockey. Like, is it all what it TSN makes it out to be, or what?
Yeah, I mean, it was a little different for us because we were pretty last minute. A lot of those guys. So Hockey Canada will cover you and like your significant other, spouse, wife, or whatever. So for hotel and for flights, and then if you want to get extra tickets or flights, you can, but it's at your expense. So a lot of those guys know in advance that they're going to be on the team. Most of the guys are Canadian guys that are playing in the Swiss A League. Um, so that's kind of their Christmas holiday.
Oh, yeah.
They'll fly their families and stuff over and put them up in the hotel, and it's a cool vacation. But yeah, it was just me and my girlfriend. And I was just going there, like, Donor told me, he's like, just come in as a spare forward and, basically enjoy the experience. So I was like, perfect, like no problem.
Well, I tell you, I had no problem telling people at work that guy played for the Cardiff Devils. I had no issues.
Yeah. But the first practice, I'm thinking I'm going to get there. I'm just going to fly under the radar. And Christopher Stieg came down with like a crazy flu and didn't show up to practice. And it turns out he's a right winger, half wall guy.
Half wall guy.
And
you run the power play in the Spengler Cup?
No, I didn't. But my first practice I did because
nice.
because they have all the lines set.
And you gotta pretend to be him.
Yeah. So I'm taking all the first line rushes. I'm just trying to come there and
just fit in.
Just kind of blend
just be there. Just be there. You just want to be there. I get it. I totally get it.
So luckily that was only for that morning's practice. He was back the next day, but yeah, like a couple injuries happened. A bunch of guys got that same flu that Versteeg had, and I ended up playing.
I find it interesting talking to all the guys that had, the careers we had, because like you're a good player, man. And like for Todd to do what he did to try and figure out a way to take the heart and soul out of Belfast, and like it was working. Like you guys were going to win the championship, and then you would have won the next year. So like he wasn't wrong. I just find it interesting that like when you talk about yourself, you're like, well, I didn't want to be there for this or that. It's like none of us that ended up where we did really had a deep belief in ourselves that like we're as good as these guys. Like we can play with these guys. But then sometimes you get on the ice with them and you're like, fuck, he's better than me. Like he is way taller than me. He's way better looking than me, and he is way faster than me. And I'm like, shit, I can't play with that.
Yeah. And it actually feels better. You're like, you know what?
I am who I am.
Yeah, I was awfully close. I just wasn't quite tough enough. I wasn't quite fast enough. And I just wasn't quite good enough. So
you had your own things. I had my own things,
Exactly. It's better than like blaming someone else.
Well, exactly. It's like you are who you are, right?
Yeah, you just weren't quite good enough.
Yeah. No, and that you got to do that, man. That's a life experience that you're gonna take to the grave with you. You're gonna be telling. You can tell anybody about. You played in the Spengler Cup, man. Like that's not many people can say that. That's pretty cool. And I think you're the first. You got to be the first EIHL player ever to do it, because most teams probably wouldn't even want you to leave because they're trying to pay you to win those 4 games, right? And
I think there'll be others. The league's
keeps getting better, right?
But it's getting better. There's a lot of good players coming through there. Yeah, I'm excited to see. As a fan, I'll be cheering for Belfast and Cardiff.
Well put. Well put. Well done there with the cheering for Belfast and Cardiff. That's good.
That's facts, man. I played for both. We would have won it in Cardiff. We won it in Belfast. Had a lot of good memories in both places. So we kind of got robbed a little bit of the year in Cardiff. We were on our way.
No, I agree, and I think the naked guy in the locker room kind of really turned it around because you guys had a rough start, hey, and like for you to have gone from Belfast and you're on a new team, you're like, geez, why is things not going so well? And they're like, oh, there you go, there's the naked guy.
Needed some nudity.
Boom, done. Yeah, first place.
See, Todd would have said that was the best money he spent in the off season was.
Oh shoot! I bought enough Cardiff Devils swag that day. I paid for the flight anyways.
He's a businessman.
Yeah, I know. He knows what he's doing. Gosh darn it. No, but I'm trying to think. Like, I think it's a great way to. Well, not actually. It's kind of weird. You ended it with the Spengler Cup, which is the highlight. Probably, I would think. I don't know. What's the highlight of your career of all the championships you won? Spengler Cup. What do you think is the best thing you did?
I mean, definitely the league championship in Belfast.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, the Spengler Cup was cool.
It's a weekend, right? It's a week.
Yeah. It was cool to be a part of. It wasn't like I tried out for this team and I was the best player that they had to take. It was a cool thing to be a part of. Kind of a feather.
But winning it and being the captain, and it takes the full season. That's what I find cool about the UK League is it takes the full season, man. You lose a couple games in Fife and like back in the day, Edinburgh or wherever. Like that's the same as losing to the Belfast Giants or the Sheffield Steelers. Like it's the same loss, and that shit gets exhausting.
Yeah. It's so it was a full year grind, and to have it end the way it did, like, and we had a wicked group. Like those
would have been more fun to win on the ice though.
I don't know. Part of me thinks yes, but part of me says no. I don't know. Who knows? We'll never know.
It was a fun night though.
It was one of the funnest, and the next night was fun too.
I understand. It was probably the one after that too.
You know what? The only problem was they couldn't have the league trophy in two places.
So it was there?
It was in Coventry because they had.
So how long until you got it? Like the next day?
Yeah. But,
Hey, that's fun. Days with the cup, having the cup, winning it, that's living. That's what hockey's all about. And man, like the reason I wanted to have you on was like I could tell in a very brief moment what you were and what you did over in that league. I didn't know about all the other shit you did till today. But you helped teams win. Didn't matter what it was, whatever they asked you to be. I thought I would have put you in front of the net because I've never seen you play, but you were a half-wall guy. So either wherever the coach is going to put you, you were going to do what it took to win, and you helped. You were just a good teammate. And it's like I asked Pat Dwyer, and he goes, he's just a good dude. I got nothing to say. And I'm like, okay, fair enough. That's fun.
I'm going to quit digging.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's what it's about. You're playing on a team. Hopefully your teammates respect you, and hopefully you're a good part of things, right? It's not like, it's the most team-driven sport. And I think that's kind of why I was able to transition to project management and start doing well at that. Cause it's.
When you're a leader too, right? Like you're leading, but yeah. I'm happy you're doing well now, man. And that's great. Yeah, I thank you for coming on and being episode, I guess, 63 today.
63 is the number.
I think so. Man, she's been busy. But
well, I'm going to keep tuning in. These are entertaining.
Well, we got a busy
week.
On the
pipeline.
we got a busy week ahead with the kids and everything. So I'm not sure if I can slip one in until next Wednesday night, folks. So sorry, you're going to have to re-listen to some old episodes or something because I'm busy with the kids till next Wednesday night with Chris Frank.
Oh, Frank the Tank.
Do you know Frank the Tank?
I do know Frank the Tank.
How do you know Frank the Tank?
We played against each other in the BC League. We played against each other when he was at Western, when I was at Ferris, and he was a Las Vegas Wrangler.
That's right. Yeah. No, geez. He played with me at Western. I was a senior and he was a freshman. And then the first game I played against him in the UK, he tried to cross-check me in the face, and then he some kind like suplexed me or something.
He's a thick boy.
Well, and he kind of gets a little bit, on the ice. Like he's like a different person. Like there's the guy off the ice, which I know he is now. Yep. But then there's that other guy that I hope has been in the closet for a long time. I hope he's gone. Yeah, I hope he doesn't show up next Wednesday because he used to scare me.
Well, he won't be in the shed with you, so.
No. Anyways, I can't wait to catch up with him. He's a beauty. Yeah. And thank you so much for coming on. Like,
thanks,
honestly, cool. I thought it was cool that you came to the Cardiff Devils and, did that, but I didn't know the whole story, and I'm sure everybody will like hearing it. And I thought it was really cool you got to play in the Spengler Cup, and I didn't know the rest about you, but it was nice getting to know you tonight. So thank you.
Yeah, well, yeah, this is fun. We almost did like 2.5, so there you go.
Oh, shit, really? We better hit stop. This has been another episode of Two Ales and Hockey Tales with Riley and Wally.